What's up guys, Joe here today for Aeterno UK once again, and as the F1 paddock arrives in Austin this weekend, what better opportunity to try out the Circuit of the Americas for the first time on the F1 2014 game. Yes, today we're going to be jumping into the McLaren of Kevin Magnussen to do a short race weekend. We're going to be doing qualifying and a 25% race with the Dane along this fantastic new track in Texas, and as we begin qualifying with our first banker lap, we get out there pretty early. We're going to be trying to do 2 flying laps over the course of the session, one pretty early on and then one towards the end of the session. And as you can see, we're being held up by our teammate already, and Valtteri Bottas goes quickest, but it's a pretty slow lap. I think the AI are very slow on their very first lap in qualifying. As you can see, we were 1.5 seconds up through the first sector, 2 seconds up through sector 2, although don't read too much into these times at the moment because this is just a banker lap. So as we come across the line now, opening the DRS to put in a 141.1, that gets us provisional pole, but we're actually knocked down all the way to 10th position as we come across the line for the start of our final run in qualifying. If you haven't noticed already, we have ditched the racing line just because I love this circuit so much, and it's one that's pretty easy to learn actually. There are quite a lot of good marker points, so if you're looking for a circuit to learn how to go without the racing line, and this is one that I'd certainly recommend. But getting back to the qualifying now, we're 8 tenths down on Rosberg's pole time, 9/100ths down on our own personal best as we come towards the final sector, and this triple right-hander reminiscent of turn 8 at Turkey. It's almost a mirror's image of it. And as we come through the penultimate turn, turn 20, taking that in 3rd gear and then knocking it into 2nd for the final corner. Hopefully we'll get a good exit as we get on the DRS, and unfortunately we didn't improve with our 2nd lap. So we're going to be starting in P10 for tomorrow's race. Far from a disaster though, as we've out-qualified our teammate Jenson Button, and hopefully the McLaren will be better during the race. As we know, McLarens don't tend to qualify awfully well, although they don't tend to race that well this season either. Hopefully though we can get a good result for the team, and as we're going to get into the setup very quickly before the race start. Like I say, we've got a 14 lap 25% race ahead of us, and yeah, just pretty standard stuff to be honest on the setup. Nothing too drastically different to what you're used to. But this race, I think our aim is probably going to be to get onto the podium. And, you know, it's just a fantastic circuit. I've always enjoyed driving it. And seeing as the real-life Grand Prix was this weekend and is going to be on this Sunday, you know, it's almost a good excuse to sort of get out and drive on this circuit. It's one that I've always, like I say, enjoyed driving, and the first 2 sectors especially have got a really nice flow to them. So as we go out onto the grid for the start of the United States Grand Prix, it's a Mercedes 1-2 with Nico Rosberg on pole position. Ourselves, Kevin Magnussen in 10th position, and that dashing pink helmet that is a mod that I've installed for Jenson Button in 12th position. So now we've got the lights for the US Grand Prix as we're knocking it into lean revs to minimise the wheel spin. It's lights out and away we go for the United States Grand Prix, getting bogged down off the start line, and our tyres are heating up. And as we're going to go now into turn 1, getting down into 2nd gear, and we're already up into 8th position as there's a flying bollard and also a slow-moving Mercedes. I believe it's Nico Rosberg who started on pole position as we're dodging cars left, right and centre to get up into 4th position. So we've gained 6 places off the start, and as we hold it through this right-hander in 5th gear, down into 4th gear now for the following left-hander. And you've just got to thread your car through that first sector, and the same with this final corner. You've just sort of got to thread the car through and almost let the track come to you, and once you've got the traction out of that final corner, you can unleash it onto this home straight as we go into the fantastic turn 1. You really do get a good perspective of the rest of the circuit, that lovely viewing tower which you can see. And now as we cut later on into lap 2, we're behind Sebastian Vettel, who will be starting from the pit lane this weekend after incurring a engine penalty. I believe he's changing his whole power unit for the US Grand Prix. So who knows, it could be an Abu Dhabi 2012 moment, pit lane to podium. But we take him for the podium position, coincidentally. And we're already up into P3 at the midway point through lap 2. And as we cut towards the end of lap 2, we put in the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. We've got Valtteri Bottas next up the road, with Lewis Hamilton leading the way, no surprise, in the Mercedes, as Valtteri Bottas harvesting some ERS, and there's confirmation that we set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. And now on to lap 3. DRS is obviously active, and Valtteri Bottas fancies his chances against Lewis Hamilton, as do we, and we've put it down the inside of Lewis into second position. And now there is no Mercedes within the top 2 positions. It's Magnussen and Bottas. But come lap 6, we were just really struggling towards the end of the stint to keep with Bottas. He bolted off into the distance, and it's just about time for us to fit our set of prime tyres for our one and only stop of the afternoon. And we've got a couple of cars right on our tail, Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel, to name a few. As we come into our pit box, Valtteri Bottas sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. The McLaren guys can't afford a slip up, and it's a slow pit stop. Oh my word, we've been jumped by Hamilton, and I believe Sebastian Vettel has made up 2 positions during that pit stop. Really unfortunate for ourselves, but there's not much we can do. All that we can do now is really put the hammer down, pardon the pun, as we're just behind Lewis Hamilton, but we've taken him down the inside, and we're up into P9 now. And it's really just, like I say, a lovely circuit to drive, especially this first sector, and even in this McLaren, which obviously isn't the best car in the game. Far from it, in fact. It's still a pleasure to drive this first sector, and you know, once you get the setup right, it just feels lovely. It really does. But anyway, we've got the rest of the field pitting at the end of lap 7. That promotes us up to P4. We've also been jumped by Nico Rosberg after his disastrous start. But come lap 8, we put it up into rich revs, and when Vettel is harvesting his ERS, we chuck it down the inside, and it was pretty easy move in the end. And now cutting on to lap 9, we've got Nico Rosberg, who we're catching up to. Nico seems to be struggling, really, because Valtteri Bottas is bolting off into the distance. And once again, we're onto our DRS, and we're hanging in the slipstream, moving to the inside line, and got the move done way before the corner as we're braking at about 130 metres, as we clip that apex just nicely. And a really nice way to overtake Rosberg. We had a small front right lock up there, but no can do for Nico Rosberg. We keep P2, and come the end of lap 14, we just could not keep with the pace of Bottas. We did sort of bolt from Rosberg, who I believe had some problems, which meant that Nico Hülkenberg was in 3rd place. It's a very strange looking podium, Bottas, Magnussen, Hülkenberg, and he's 14 seconds up the road anyway. Is Valtteri Bottas, with Nico Hülkenberg a further 5 seconds back. Our tyres were just starting to go off towards the end of the stint, and as you can see, Bottas has taken a commanding race victory, with ourselves a very decent 2nd position, beating both the Mercedes and both of the Red Bulls and both the Ferraris. You would have thought we would have taken the race victory, but it's P2 for Kevin Magnussen in this US Grand Prix simulation. And I really did enjoy recording and editing and commentating, obviously, this race. Like I say, it's a Grand Prix that I really do enjoy, and seeing as the real life Grand Prix was this weekend, what better time to do it? So there's confirmation of the race results. As you can see, Valtteri Bottas took a 17-second victory over myself and Nico Hülkenberg, with Jean-Eric Vergne in 4th position. The highest placed Mercedes was Lewis Hamilton in 6th position, with Nico Rosberg experiencing big troubles, and he's way down there in 18th position. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Make sure you show your support by leaving a like, and subscribe if you haven't already for weekly Formula 1 content. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll probably do the same actually for Brazil when the Brazilian Grand Prix is happening in a couple of weeks' time. But until next time, guys, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.